Up on the president's call for peace between the Israelis and Palestinians and, of course, across the Middle East. Today, Mr. Obama reiterated a need for a two-state solution and action on both sides of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict.
America's strong bonds with Israel are well known. This bond is unbreakable. On the other hand, it is also undeniable that the Palestinian people, Muslims and Christians, has suffered in pursuit of a homeland. And America will not turn our backs on the legitimate Palestinian aspiration for dignity, opportunity, and a state of their own.
Let's bring in our panel. Morton Klein, National President of the Zionist Organization of America, the oldest pro-Israel group in the United States, and Raghida Dergham, a senior diplomatic correspondent for the London-based Al Hayat and also an MSNBC analyst. Morton, I want to play for you Barack Obama talking specifically about settlements and then get your reaction. Watch.
The United States does not accept the legitimacy of continued Israeli settlements. This construction violates previous agreements and undermines efforts to achieve peace. It is time for these settlements to stop.
Now, Morton, he actually reflects the view of most Jewish Americans who strongly support Israel but also think the settlements are provocative. So what's wrong with what the president said?
Well, first of all, most Israeli Jews in surveys do support the right of Jews to live there. The problem is settlements, Jews living in Judea and Samaria or the West Bank, are perfectly legal. In 1948, when Jordan took over the West Bank, they took it over illegally because the Arabs refused to accept this land, and it was not accepted by the United Nations. So this is not anyone's sovereign or legal land. It was unallocated land in this area. But the biggest problem with this is that the problem is not settlements. There's 300,000 Jews in the West Bank, 2 million Arabs. The problem is not those settlements. The problem is that they continue to promote hatred and murder against Jews in their schools, media, and in their speeches. They don't arrest terrorists. They don't put them in prison. They don't outlaw terrorist groups. They don't even put Israel on their maps. They don't accept Israel within any borders. That's the problem. And Obama makes the mistake of acting as if settlements is the issue. Remember, from 48 to 67, there wasn't a single Jewish community in Judea and Samaria, and there was constant terrorism and wars. Settlements are not the problem.
Regina?
Well, the president actually does not stop at the issue of settlements. The president is speaking about the two-state solution. So let's just really focus on what he has in mind. He has in mind living in peace, Israel living in peace with its neighbors, Palestinians living in peace with Israel. And I think it's very clear what the president has been doing. He's been appealing to the American public opinion, to the international public opinion, and he's saying, we know the contours to a solution. Let's just go for it. Unfortunately, to hear right now, sort of like an attack on what the president is trying to do is really to supplement this point that is being made by some that Israel wants to evade peace. And I hope that's not true, because I think there's some very important Jewish leadership in the United States and beyond who are supporting the president.
Morton?
Remember, in the year 2000, Ehud Barak offered virtually all of the West Bank, half of Jerusalem, for a state. Yasser Arafat went to war, started a terrorist war, even when he was offered all of this. And the problem now with talking about a state is you have Hamas in Gaza, you have Fatah in the West Bank. How do you get a state when you have a terrorist entity in Gaza and an entity in the West Bank that doesn't do anything against terrorism? This is no way to get a civilized Palestinian peaceful state. You're going to have in the West Bank and statehood what you have in Gaza. Rockets and terrorism on a daily basis. That's the problem.
Can I say something, David? Let's just really get beyond, because we have only a couple of minutes for this segment. We can't go to the history, and I could challenge every point what was made. The point of the president is trying to make is let's go forward. Let's move forward. We know what it takes to make peace for Israel, not against Israel. But it seems that for some reason people are trying, like that Mr. Klein, they're trying to go back, rehashing all these other things. And the fact of the matter, the president framed the issue differently this time. He said to the American public, this is an issue that touches the American national security. And he's right. If we don't get rid of this Palestinian-Israeli issue and solve it and get it off the table, we will have a bigger struggle in confronting what he calls extremism, violent extremism. That is why he called on the Arabs to be helpful with and the Muslims in general to be his partners in confronting this violent extremism. And that's where we all should put our hands together and help the president accomplish that.
Raghida Dergham and Morton Klein, thank you both very much. Interesting conversation. We appreciate it.
Thank you.